No, this is damning. It really is. I got to tell you. You see this quote. Quote, it wasn't a championship locker room. Wow. Wow. Okay.
The drama in the WNBA is heating up, and it's all about A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces. A'ja recently made waves with a bold statement about her former teammates who left during free agency. She said, and I quote, "It wasn't a championship locker room." Wow, those words hit hard. Now, as you can imagine, that's causing a stir across the league. The Aces, once
get any of that without every single teammate along the way. And I'm so grateful to be able to play with just, and I said it on the broadcast before, just selfless women. They give it their all every single day, and they're their pure selves, and that's what I love the most, and I'm trying not to get them.
Is calling out the team in a way that's turning heads. She said that as soon as training camp started, she knew something was off. "I was like, we ain't got it," she added. Hold up, what does that even mean? The Aces have had all the talent in the world, and they've won championships. So, is she saying the team wasn't built for greatness? That seems hard to believe, right? It raises the question, was the Aces' dominance a fluke? Were they really as good as we thought? It's a tough pill to swallow, especially for fans who thought they were
championship locker room. Wilson said, I mean, out of the gate, going into training camp, I was like, we ain't got it. Wow. Okay. That's crazy. I always told myself, we're going to get it. We're going to check each box, but we didn't. Oh, man. Unbelievable.
I wonder, if the whole squad basically jumped ship, does it say something about the team's inner dynamics? The fact is, players like Alicia Clark and Sydney Colson, two veterans who were key to the Aces' success, decided to leave. And that's got people talking. When your key players, and even your best friend on the team, walk away, you've got to ask, am I the problem? The Aces roster has changed dramatically. Gone are several top players, and now only a few remain, like MVP Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray. Asia's left with a much quieter locker room now. It's like the energy has shifted. What was once a championship-caliber squad seems a lot less certain now. Some say the team's issues stem from one thing, A'ja Wilson. She's been the star.
For KP and A'ja, just how important has Chelsea been in this matchup for you guys?
Come on, Andy, you know the question for that. You know the answer for that. What do you mean how important? She's our point guard. She's our leader. So, come on now, Andy, you know the answer to that. Chelsea's very important to us.
She's collected the MVPs and the accolades, while her teammates were expected to play supporting roles. But let's be real, if the rest of the team felt like they were always playing second fiddle, it might explain why they're walking away. So, was the Las Vegas Aces locker room ever really a championship locker room? Or was it always just a one-woman show? It's a question that'll leave fans wondering where the Aces go from here. The Las Vegas Aces are in the middle of a storm right now, and A'ja Wilson just threw some serious shade. First off, Sydney Colson is signing with the Indiana Fever, which got me wondering, how will A'ja respond to this? Based on her recent
almost their entire team is gone from last year. They've lost basically everyone. If we want to look at the Vegas Aces team from last year, who's still remaining? The MVP? Jackie Young? Chelsea?
Yeah, right. Here's the thing, Chelsea Gray saved the Aces playoff run, and people still acted like A'ja Wilson was doing it all on her own. It was A'ja this, A'ja that, and eventually, everyone around her got tired of it. So when free agency hit, they did what was best for them. Because, newsflash, not everyone wants to spend their career playing second fiddle to someone who just threw them under the bus on the way out. Now, Kelsey Plum, poor Kelsey Plum, is about to feel the pain. Imagine waking up, looking around the locker room, and realizing that everyone who helped you reach the top has vanished overnight. What's next, A'ja? Is this team still a championship contender? Can you
Boy, was I in shock when I just read that ESPN has reported that Sydney Colson is signing with the Indiana Fever. I am so curious about what A'ja Wilson has to say. I can only imagine that it is, very professional. That was not on my
about to witness the downfall of a super team. And here's the kicker, the Aces don't even have a general manager right now. They let go of theirs a few months ago and haven't replaced them. So, Nikki Fargas and Becky Hammon are left trying to make magic without a real GM in place. Talk about a tough spot. Now, back to those departures. Two key players from the bench, both former Six Players of the Year in 2023 and 2024, have left the Aces. Imagine leaving a team, seeking fresh starts and peace of mind, and then hearing A'ja Wilson throw shade like a solar eclipse. She basically called Kelsey Plum and Sydney Colson fake for leaving. Ma'am, do you pay their bills? Do you sign their contracts? Or are you just upset that not everyone wants to be a part of your Aces clique? Because it sure sounds like some bitter ex energy. It's giving, I thought we had something special, and why would you leave me? But here's the thing, some players just want a change. Some want fresh air. Some don't want.
Because in comparison to other teams, this is one of the weakest teams there has been. This is genuinely one of the weakest, sorry, not weakest teams in comparison to other teams that could win a championship. Like, this team is not as good as the Chicago Sky 2021. They have one better player. That might be it. Chicago Sky.
Not everybody wants to be part of a team that feels like a high school mean girls squad. The way she said it was just rude, honestly. Imagine packing your bags, excited for a new chapter, and then hearing your former teammate throw little jabs questioning your loyalty. It's a bad look, especially from someone who claims to be the moral compass of the league. And let's not forget, she's got an MVP trophy. Congrats.
Keep in mind is that the Las Vegas Aces do not have a GM right now. They let go of their GM a couple months ago, and they have not put anyone in that place. And so, hey, Nikki Fargas and Becky Hammond are trying to make some wonders without an actual GM. So let's get into specifically what has been happening. So the latest departures for the Las Vegas Aces include 2 heavy hitters off the bench and 2 former 2023 and 2024.
And the hypocrisy is real. If the Aces had signed someone from another team, I don't think she'd be throwing the same kind of shade. So here we are, the Aces locker room is a shell of what it once was, and A'ja Wilson's leadership is in question. Will she prove everyone wrong and lead this team back to the top? Or are we watching the fall of a dynasty in the making? One thing's for sure, the players who left are going to be thriving. A'ja Wilson talks a big game about loyalty, but let's be real, she's out here celebrating like it's another Vegas pool party while throwing shade at her former teammates. When players leave her team, suddenly, it's a problem. She's calling out Kelsey Plum and Sydney Colson for leaving. That double standard is wild. Girl, you're not even the commissioner, you're just another player. Basketball is still a professional sport, not some lifelong sisterhood where you have to pinky promise to stay together forever. Let these people live their lives. And don't even get me started on how she's acting like Kelsey and Sydney are helpless. Kelsey Plum? She's going to be just fine. She's got her game, her skills, and a fan base that loves her. Sydney Colson? That woman is going to crack jokes and collect checks no matter what team she's on. With Caitlin Clark in Indiana, Colson's about to have
Really taught her that a winning team should, quote, look, sound, and feel a certain way. I gotta tell you, there's a lot that one could take out of that right there. Wilson said that the Aces didn't meet.
She's got her game, her skills, and a fan base that loves her. Sydney Colson? That woman is going to crack jokes and collect checks no matter what team she's on. With Caitlin Clark in Indiana, Colson's about to have even more fun. They're good, and they're not out here crying over leaving. So why is A'ja making this her problem? Maybe she's just mad the Aces are falling apart. Maybe she's realizing people don't want to be side characters in the A'ja Wilson show anymore. She might be feeling the pressure of knowing she's not as untouchable as she thinks she is. When Sydney Colson was in Vegas, no one questioned the championship pedigree of that locker room. She was cracking jokes, keeping the chemistry alive, and winning titles. But now that she's with Caitlin Clark and the Fever, suddenly it's not a championship locker room? Does Sydney's championship experience not count anymore? Or does it only matter when it benefits A'ja? Now, the Indiana Fever are making moves. They just signed Colson, a 2-time champion, as their backup point guard. The Fever are on a mission, and they're not stopping. They've stacked up on past champions, Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and now Sydney Colson. Colson's impact goes beyond the stats. She's a locker room leader, a culture setter, and exactly what you need next to a generational talent like Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, A'ja's looking around at her roster, wondering what's next. The Aces are shaken up, the chemistry is off, and that super team energy is fading fast. Maybe, just maybe, A'ja should have treated her teammates a little better before they started walking out the door. As much as A'ja was acting like the sole reason the Aces won those rings, it's funny how quickly things look shaky when people start leaving. On the flip side, Indiana's looking strong. Caitlin Clark has the leadership, Aaliyah Boston is a force in the paint, and now they've got veterans like Coulson to make sure this team is built for success. The chemistry? It's going to be top tier. The energy? Unmatched. Don't be surprised when the Fever are right there in the mix when playoff time rolls around. The Indiana Fever are dominating the offseason, making smart moves, and stacking their roster with experience. Last year's roster? Completely different from this year's. Last year's staff? They've leveled up. The Fever are building something special, and with the moves Amber Cox and Kelly Kroskoff have made, the 2025 season is shaping up to be something exciting. Is it too early to talk championship? Maybe. But don't sleep on them.
All right, the Indiana Fever just did it again, and what I told you, they was not done yet. They just found Caitlin Clark, backup point guard, and Sydney Colston, who will be playing in Athletes Unlimited this week. She came from the Aces. She signed a one-year deal with the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever are on a mission, and they are not